What's up, everyone? Welcome to Sir Hunt's Reviews. My name is Mark, and I'm joined today by this very special guest. Oh, hold up. Let me check the audio. But, Don, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, man?
Hey, yo, what's the deal, my people? You know, this is Don Tony Teflon. I'm back at you, another one chilling here, Sir Hunt Review channel. Told people I'd be up on this piece before I did anything else, so I'm just blessed to be up here, blessed to be with my man, talking to Tourney and motherfucking Harrenhal. Let's get this thing popping.
That was one of the best intros I've heard. All right, so real quick, I'm gonna play it back to make sure the audio's on point, and then we'll go ahead and get into discussing the background, like surrounding the events of the Tourney at Harrenhal, and then what actually went down. And then towards the later end of the stream, we'll take questions from you all watching. But yeah, like I said, let me make sure the audio is on point real quick.
All right. Is that there's a chat up, right?
Yeah, the chat is up.
I should probably go over there then and take a look at the chat.
On my phone, it's frozen though. It says we haven't started yet, but I know we started because I already hit start streaming.
But so, baby.
All right, yeah, I think we're live. I'm playing the audio right now. The stream will take questions. All right, from you all watching. Sounds good. All right, we're good to go. All right, so basically, the tourney was announced in 280 AC by Lord Walter Wint shortly after he was visited by his brother, Sir Oswald Wint of the Kingsguard. The king in power right now was actually King Aerys, the Mad Targaryen. I know most of us know that, but this is just like a refresher course before we jump into it. The rewards offered by Walter Wint were 3 times greater than those offered by Lord Tywin motherfucking Lannister in the tourney of, like, basically in honor of Prince Viserys being born, and he was, Golden Crown, and that was at Lannisport in 276 AC. So this is 4 years later when Lord Walter Wint starts his tourney. The lavish prizes offered by Lord Wint brought hundreds of challengers to the tourney. Walter also wanted to present his massive castle and his fine son. So basically he wanted to show off all of his wealth. While most believe House Wint was displaying their wealth and splendor, some believe that the Wints lacked the funding for the prizes and were instead supported by a shadow host. Maester Yandel suggests Crown Prince Rhaegar Targaryen. So there is this theory that Rhaegar, it's not even a theory really, it was going to go down. Rhaegar was going to, kind of toss the Mad King out on his ass. And at this tournament, he wanted to meet with pretty much all the people that were going to be there, which were the High Lords of Westeros at the time. So he wanted to go all out in doing so that he can get as many people to come to the tourney. King Aerys II Targaryen attended the tournament only because Varys, the Master of Whispers, warned him that Rhaegar is actually plotting against him, and as a pretext to meet with several High Lords to discuss removing his father as an informal, or to remove his father as a king and make like an informal Great Council. Many in attendance were shocked by the king's physical decline. During the tourney's opening ceremonies, 15-year-old Sir Jaime Lannister was admitted into the Order of the Kingsguard. Although Jaime wanted to compete in the tourney the next day, King Aerys commanded him to return to King's Landing and guard Queen Rhaella and Prince Viserys. Also, that first night was a great feast within Harrenhal for lords from throughout the realm. All right, so Tony, real quick, you are like book master. So can you, kind of summarize a little bit more, maybe go into a little bit more detail about like the events precluding, like what made the tourney come into power?
Well, I would think when you look at this whole situation, the thing you gotta look at is really the money. How'd the money get there? That's how you really know. You follow the money trail with anything that you go. That's how you know that something's suspicious. The prizes at this tournament are so elaborate and so illustrious. The biggest prizes ever given out any tournament. Someone with big dough and big pockets had to be backing this motherfucker. And the only reason why people would back this thing is if there was a coup going on. So the whole big tournament really was just a coup to see if Rhaegar could take power. Now, Varys got a hold of this plot, and he is the reason why Aerys went out there and left the Red Keep anyway. Funny that, he would listen to Varys at this time, and then when it came down to it, when his life was on the line, he chose not to, especially when Varys got this one right. But that's basically when you go and you take a look at this whole situation, you must always follow the money trail, and that's how you look at it. So no doubt Rhaegar Targaryen was scheming. He was up to something. He was trying to take over power from his father. The biggest thing is really to me is how did Varys find this out? Who was the one that put the bird in the Varys' ears that he got it? Was it a little bird or something like that? I don't know. I think Varys had some other plan because I can't see that Varys, when you look at Varys' situation, you can't think that Varys was going to allow Rhaegar to take over. I don't think that it's in his best interest, especially when you see Varys' plan later on with Fagon. You see that he had to have disruption in the realm. So that's why he could not allow Rhaegar to take over, because Rhaegar was so loved, he would have united the whole realm. There would have been no chance of him to cause disruption to later allow a Blackfire to come and take the throne. And that's basically why he blew that up.
Mm-hmm. And it was it was almost like the climax of King Aerys' paranoia. You know what I mean? He hadn't left the Red Keep in years, and finally he did for this. So it was like, I think I agree with you were saying. It was kind of sketchy that he didn't listen to him later on when he told him not to open up the gates to Lord Tywin. You know what I mean? When when it counted the most, I feel like it would have. We had to have this shit go down the way it did. Otherwise, we wouldn't have a story. You know what I mean? We wouldn't have Robert's Rebellion, and then we wouldn't have a Game of Thrones, basically.
No doubt about it. You got to, I mean, when we look at this thing, we're looking at it hindsight of 2020. You know what I mean? But you have to have certain things that make a story a story. So obviously, he couldn't allow that to happen. We wouldn't have the story. But that's what we do. We just look at stuff and just say hindsight of 2020. Monday night quarterback in this motherfucker.
All right. So the tourney took place over 10 days. And 7 of those days were actually the actual competition. 5 days of those were jousting. There was a 7-sided melee in the ancient style, in which Lord Baratheon unhorsed many. Besides the melee and the joust, the tourney included an archery contest, an axe throwing contest, a horse race, and a tourney of singers, which I would have fucking ohmed on if I was on that. And there was also a mummer show. Lord Walter Went's fair daughters was the Queen of Love and Beauty when the tourney began. Her honor was defended by her brothers and her uncle, Sir Oswald Went of the Kingsguard, but they were ultimately defeated in the tourney. A mystery knight, the Knight of the Laughing Tree, appeared in the list to fight for the honor of the Cronogmen. King Aerys sent men to learn of the identity of the mystery knight who appeared and then disappeared mid-tourney, but they were unsuccessful. Rhaegar Targaryen was champion of the jousts, defending 4 knights of the Kingsguard, and in the end, he chose Lyanna Stark, which we all know is the moment that, this all began, as the new Queen of Love and Beauty, placing a crown of blue winter roses in her lap. This was scandalous in that not only Rhaegar was already married to Elia of Dorne, who was present at the fucking tourney, but Lyanna herself, who was betrothed to Robert Baratheon. Rhaegar's indiscretion culminated in his abduction of Lyanna a year later, which touched off Robert's rebellion, which brought an end to pretty much House Targaryen. Honestly, I think House Targaryen kind of came to an end in the last Blackfire Rebellion, but yeah. What do you think about that? First off, let's say who do you think is the Knight of the Laughing Tree?
I think that's Lyanna Stark. As we said, that we have to have a story. We said we Monday night quarterback, and we have to have it go a certain way to have the story. Well, it has to be Lyanna Stark if we have to have the story. There's no other person that it could be that would make the events to go the way they go in the books if it's not her. So we find Rhaegar must have known that she was the Knight of the Laughing Tree. He must have found her like that and must have been rewarding her in some way by giving her the crown of love and beauty.
Tony, I think your mic is it's like bubbling a little bit. It's kind of hard to hear you.
All right, let me change it up real quick.
I could still make out what you were saying, but it was just, really distorted.
No, that's cool. I expected to do that. All right.
There we go. That sounds.
It'd be good now, right?
Yep.
All right, yeah. So when you look at the story and stuff like that, as I said, you have the Monday night quarterback. The only way it works is if Lyanna Stark is the Knight of the Laughing Tree. So I think Rhaegar must have found her changing her armor or changing something off, and that is why he gave her the crown of love and beauty on top of that. He must have respected the act she did and then realized what he had to do to have another son, to have the third head of the dragon because of the White Walker situation, and it had to be with a Stark. I mean, also when you look at Rhaegar Targaryen, I think of Rhaegar Targaryen like Elvis Presley. Literally Elvis Presley, if Elvis Presley was like Prince Charles mixed in, because this is a dude who was loved by everybody, the best singer, had all the chicks on him, but instead of getting a grown-ass woman, he wants to go and seduce a young girl, just like
They're easier to manipulate, man.
And people don't want to talk about that. Everyone but don't want to talk about that. But this is a baby he's talking. This is a grown-ass man talking to a fucking 14-year-old girl. I mean, she's pretty to seduce her. You know what I mean? It's like when Sam was with with Gilly and I mean when John was with Egret and she seen the fucking windmill and she fucking lost her mind because it was a goddamn windmill. You know what I mean?
She's
It's
like,
the
"What is that?" And he's like,
it's a windmill.
yeah, they're fucking everywhere, dummy."
Yeah, you know, so it probably, you know, it's not gonna be hard for this man. You know what I mean? It's like I said, if you're a grown ass man, you can't pull a little chick. You got a car, she walking. You got an apartment, she live with her parents. It should be pretty easy for you to pull this off, you know, and let alone when you fucking got Elvis Presley status on you anyway. You know what I mean? So that's what he did, and that's how he seduced the whole situation.
Yeah, I like that quote from the Queen of Thorns. I'm not sure if it's the same, if it actually gets mentioned in the books, but in the show she mentions how everybody wanted a Targaryen back then, like they were, you know, hot shit, like basically like the Jacksons back in the 60s and 70s or 70s, I guess.
You know, there's any small town, especially small town mentality that you grow up in and stuff like that. There's always a family with the big last name. You know what I mean? And you got that older girl. Oh, I gotta marry her. Oh, whatever. I gotta marry this. They're the family, the rich family. They got the good last name. Same type situation back then. It's all the same shit.
Very well put, sir. Very well put. I'm gonna give shout outs to everybody in the chat in a second. I've actually kind of wanted to get through a little bit of this before we start taking questions. But yeah, I actually saw a video about, like, you know, looking at it a real way. I'm not sure. I think it was Preston Jacobs. I'm not sure. I know it was an older video, but basically they were talking about how, you know, similar to what you had mentioned, like, it might not be how we think it is. We want it to be like a fairy tale type of thing where he swept her away, but it might have been, you know, was this actually your video? They had mentioned like how basically he took her to a strange land and it was so that she could be kept away from everyone. You know what I mean? If she did try to escape or some shit like that. Have you?
No, I did not say anything like that.
Okay, so I think it was Preston Jacobs' video. Yeah, he was mentioning how, you know, he wanted to basically remove her away from everyone that she was close to. And in order to do that, he knew that, you know, he had to have someone who was of ice, obviously of northern descent, and that's why he chose her. And she's younger, so he figured he could just, you know, kind of take her off to a foreign place to just kind of have his way with her. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think she's prisoner. As I said, this is Rhaegar Targaryen. This is Elvis Presley. You know, she ain't got to seduce. She ain't got to do nothing to seduce.
Well, yeah, not.
Song, you know, he hit it with a song. She cried on that night and all that situation. You know what I mean? So, you know, even though she's presented as Arya Stark in looks and in actions, when you look at the way she actually acted, she acted more like Sansa, Mary Taylorish. You know what I mean? So, most likely, she had to acted like Arya when it came to riding and came to being wild. But when it came to romance, she was more Sansa Stark.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I don't know. I don't not necessarily held against her will, but more like to remove her away from anyone that could influence her. You know, mainly Ned. You know, or someone from her family that would be like, hey, you know, I don't think this is the wisest idea. This guy's already married. But I never really understood why everyone made such a big deal about Rhaegar. Like, if he did marry Lyanna, why people made a big deal about that he was already married to Elia when Targaryens are known for having multiple wives, right? I know it was kind of like an extinct tradition, but I think it was the Conciliator, Jaehaerys the Conciliator, one of them had made it, you know, redid it with the Faith of the Seven. So they had kind of rid themselves of some of those older traditions, like having multiple wives. Am I incorrect by saying that, or?
No, you're not. But I'm saying these are kings. This is a time when the kings are almighty. If he want multiple wives, he's gonna have multiple wives. This is what they do. You know what I mean? If they gonna fuck each other, fuck they sisters, fuck they cousins, fuck they mothers, they do whatever the fuck they want. That's just the way they got down back then. You know what I mean? So, and I think that at that point, you don't know the way it seems with Rhaegar. You know, listen, she could have been down with it. She may have known, like, hey, I can't have any more kids. I'm too sickly. He could have rode to her with that. Now, you see in the dream with Daenerys, he's saying, I have to have one more. He's saying in the dream, and she's sick in the bed and laying that. So she may agree, like, hey, I can't have your kid no more. If you want to get some young chick to have your kid, go at it, son. Have that kid. You know what I mean? And I'm still going to be married to you anyway. You listen, there are a lot of swinging type situations going on nowadays. So what do you think was going on back then? She was probably with it, especially that Dornish people. You know how the Dornish people get down. He's probably like, hey, put her in the bed with us. It's all good. I'm with that.
Yeah, I think they're in that Preston Jacobs video. He mentioned how there might have been multiple women that he tried to make this prophecy happen with. You know, what do you think about that?
I don't know if I don't think it took multiple people. I think he knew it had to be the Stark woman, you know what I mean, of all women. And I think, he's Rhaegar. He went up there, he got the Stark woman that he had to get, you know what I mean. I think he sang a couple of songs to her. You don't know. He dabbled in some magic and some arts too. So you don't know if he played a song. They said that there's certain powders, Melisandre said, that to make people fall in love. There's certain powers and certain things people say to make people cry and will. Well, he made her cry when playing a song. Who knows if he used some type of magic to help seduce it or anything. Don't really know if he really need to. As I said, he's Elvis back then. Elvis didn't need to do anything to anyone but show up and shake his hips. So that's all he had to really do, you know what I mean? So it's probably, I'm sure she wanted to go with him. I mean, every time you hear about the guy, you hear about his goddamn long ass hair like he's fucking Fabio and shit like that, you know what I mean?
Talking about how he used to walk through the streets of King's Landing singing to the common folk and shit like that.
Yeah, so of course she wanted to go with him. Who's not going to want to go with the guy? That's the way it is.
Well, yeah, I think, I don't know. I really wish we get that. This was the next thing I kind of wanted to talk about before we start taking questions. It's actually only been about 14 minutes in, and I feel like I'm kind of rushing it a little bit. But do you think that there was a possibility that maybe we can get a Tourney of Harrenhal flashback and maybe find out what Howland Reed was doing at the Isle of the Faces?
I don't know if we'll go that far into finding out what Howland Reed was actually doing unless it somehow affects the show at the end. But I do think you have to have the Tourney of Harrenhal flashback. I think that last year we got Jon Stark's mother, so I think it's just this year you should get Jon Stark's father. If not this year, maybe next year. I don't know, depending on how these episodes go and how everything is. But I think you definitely have to explain who his father is, and the only way to truly do that is a Tourney of Harrenhal. That's it. And George R. R. Martin says that we're not getting Robert's Rebellion, we're not getting these flashbacks because on this show everything's going to be spelled out. So I think they're going to spell it out like that.
Yeah, he was like, there would be no mystery left in that, so what would be the point? So yeah, I think, I agree with you. I think we could get something like maybe, last season, every time we saw Bran, he was in a flashback. So we know he's right outside the wall. He could easily go back in there and slip into another warg, and I think that it'll help us explain their relationship, you know what I mean, before we get, okay, it's like we got the Tower of Joy first, that was the ending of that, or the culmination of all those events, and then we'll get like a little bit of, I don't know if, like you were saying, I don't know if we'll get that Howland Reed stuff, but I think we will get, okay, this is the relationship. We'll get the behind the scenes of him like maybe meeting up with her in one of those 7 nights or those 10 nights where he was like kind of like, what you were saying, he might have snuck into her tent or some shit and started singing her a song. You know what I mean?
I mean, you could have it that Jon can just fall asleep on a weirwood tree and get sucked in by Bran right then. And then Bran walk him through like Blood Raven walked him around. It could be Bran walking around Jon Snow next season. You could see a certain situation like that. That's all he has to do is fall asleep on a tree. I mean, we've seen the when in the books we see Bran touch Jon when he's inside Ghost and when he's inside there. So it's not like he hasn't done it in the book. So it's quite possible they could do that again in the show, but without the Ghost walking situation.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I know everyone's saying it's going to be super fast-paced this season, and actually I commented on one of Emergency Awesome's video when I was like, man, you should do a video on the Tourney of Harrenhal, and he's like, I don't think we're going to have time to see that this season. And I was like, nah, I think we need that. Anybody who's just like how I am, still, even though I listen to POV chapters and all that good shit, and I know a lot more than the average person, but I'm still someone who, sympathizes greatly with someone who's just watching the show just because they like the show, and honestly were afraid to pick up the source material because that they think that it would make them jaded. You know what I mean? Like I've noticed that just from listening to certain shit that I know how the show did it, I'm like, God, what the fuck would they do this? Why would they give this person this arc? Or why would they just completely take out this character? It makes you mad. So I think that, for someone who's just watching the show and all they know is the show, they might have seen every episode multiple times, but all they know is the show, they need an explainer of what actually happened. Baelish going, oh, is that what you think? Oh, shit, I can actually do a way better Baelish impression. Hang on. Is that what you think happened? You know what I mean? We can't just have that. We need more than that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that people got to realize it too. When you're dealing with a show, it's adaptation. That means it's not verbatim. They have to do certain things that they can't do in the books because it won't show up good in the show. Now, in the books, I do believe that Jon Snow is going to be inside Ghost for a very long time. It's not going to be like they showed it there with him just Tormund looking down his pants and looking at his dick, and fucking Melisandre wiping him down, rubbing him down and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like bump and grind type situation. It ain't gonna be that. It ain't gonna be a Teddy Pendergrass situation. Let me rub you down with some hot oil, baby. It ain't gonna be like that with Jon. He gonna be up in Ghost for a little bit, and I think that's probably boring for them on the TV show. That is why they killed off Stannis Baratheon and gave Kit Harington, Jon Snow, all of Stannis Baratheon's victories, because you have to do that because Jon is the star. You can't have Stannis winning these battles and then dying, and Jon Snow coming out and just taking at the end. It doesn't do anything, doesn't make anyone more attached to Jon. It makes people more attached to Stannis. So the way to make people more attached to Jon is to eliminate the whole Morgan situation and let him win all these battles.
Okay, you put shit very well. I don't even know what to like add up to that. Like I can't even, I don't even have a response to that. That was very well put. The reason why I'm doing this video is it's kind of like in honor, and I know she doesn't want me to say her name, so we'll just say it right now. Like, you know who you are. This video is for you.
You know who you are.
Yeah, yes, exactly. You know who you are. So, with that being said, she had a couple kind of like topic things that we can kind of run on a little bit, and one of those I want to get your opinion on this. She says that my theory is Rhaegar gave the winter roses to Lyanna in recognition of knowing she was the Knight of the Laughing Tree. Do you agree with that, or do you think?
100%.
Yeah,
100%. Yeah, he definitely knew that's who she was. He knew what she did, and that was a way for him to honor her and give her that more than anything else. That's why he did that.
Yeah, it's like that, like a missing piece of the puzzle, and that fits in. Like, okay, now that we know this information, I honestly, speaking of which, I'm gonna get sidetracked, and that would probably happen a lot, but. I had seen this theory somewhere that Bran is actually warged into Howland Reed. It was Howland is the Knight of the Laughing Tree, right? And Bran warged into him because Bran, was trained on how to do certain things like that. Like, obviously, Bran's not a jouster, but using Howland Reed's body, he was able to maneuver, and that's how the Knight of the Laughing Tree went like that. Like, basically, he was warged from Bran in the future to the past or something. What do you think about that?
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. This is what I say about theories. I like professional wrestling. You know what I mean? I do. I watch it still to this day. I watched it when I was a child. I know it's fake, but it entertains me. And most of these theories that I hear from people, I know they fake, but they do entertain me. I mean, there's no sense in that happening. It doesn't help the story in any way. And also, when you hear Mira say specifically that her father couldn't fight, he couldn't do anything, that she prayed to the gods. So why even say anything like that if it was him? The only way the narrative fits is if it's Lyanna Stark. It can't be anything else. Just like Ashura Dane is not Jon Snow's mother. It doesn't help the story. They're not in the show. They would have to have her in there if that was the case. There's a reason why she's not there. So as for, I think it's creative for him to say that, how Bran time traveling back to this time and fighting for Howland Reed, he's a Knight of the Laughing Tree. I don't believe that's the case whatsoever. It was Lyanna Stark without a doubt. That's why it's ill-fitting armor. That's why it's considered a booming voice. Like, she's like this. Go and tell your squire something.
Yeah.
That's why they say that. Why she does that, because that's what's going on. As we see, obviously later on, how people don't even respect Brienne. And Brienne's a big ass bitch. You know what I mean? And she's a big bitch. I mean, she is a big bitch. There's nothing wrong with saying big bitch, right? She's a big bitch.
Yeah, nah, for real,
She's a big ass. Lyanna Stark ain't that big.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And specifically when you say how she beat them in jousting, and jousting is 95% horse riding, and then you talk about how good of a horse rider she is. You stress that. Why stress all these points if it's not her?
Exactly, and I think one of the other ways that the show was showing us, commenting on what you were saying about like having experience and just like ill-fitting armor and all that good shit. I think the show where she rides in. Hang on, I'm gonna actually bring up the image real quick right now. Just give me like 10 seconds.
Hunch, you got all the women in your chat, and I gotta come over here more often.
Yeah, I did notice that. I looked at my demographic. I got the YouTube Studio app back on my phone. I'd actually removed it because I find myself obsessing over my YouTube stats. But I saw that my demographic was still 70% male and like 30% female. But in my chat, I noticed that there are a lot of females that are watching.
Yeah, oh, I think it's the hairstyle. It's that goddamn hair. Get a wig. I think I'm gonna get a wig. I'm gonna get a wig and fucking walk around like you. I was gonna say, I'm going like that. So see me at the car with a wig. You gonna see Sarah Hunt's walking around that motherfucker.
Yo, this dude earlier, I was in Rite Aid getting some cigarettes, and this dude earlier had actually asked me. He was like, "Have you ever? Has anyone ever told you look like Reggie Watts? Do you know who Reggie Watts is?"
Oh no. Who is Reggie Watts?
It's this comedian dude who does this like weird he like sings and plays these instruments and shit, but it's more like a comedy act than anything else. And the dude, his hair is fucking nuts, and I asked him why he said that, and he was like, "Oh, it was your hair, man." A lot of people think I either look like someone they know or, you know. One person actually, when I first started growing my shit out, because I had it pulled back, one person actually thought I had put like something in my hair to make it, you know, longer like that. I was like, nah, I wouldn't ever probably do that.
No Jerry curl up in this month, no.
Yeah, no, yo, that's what it looks like when it's humid outside. If it's a little bit wet, I'm telling you, you'll probably see if it rains at any time in Nashville. Speaking of which, me and Tony are both going to be at the Count of Thrones, as well as many other YouTubers. Me and him are actually on a panel, which we might get touch on a little bit later. Honestly, I think I think there's 4 of us on that panel, maybe 5, but I think we should meet up and compare notes and shit. But we can touch on that a little bit here. You know, it's the treatment of race in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I think people got nervous of getting on that panel. So, you know, I jumped on that all day. I'm all about that. So, you know, people were a little nervous. Don't want to confront the subject or something like that. But
I will say that there aren't. I'm not trying to sound like an asshole or anything fucking, you know, anything like that. Well, this is my channel. I'll say it anyway. I will say that all of us on the panel are, you know, minorities. I will say that. You know what I mean?
I hope so. I mean, when you're looking for opinion, I mean, who you gonna really look
first-hand
for?
experience, exactly. All right, well, yeah, get back on topic a little bit here. The image that you have right now, I think, relating back to what Tony was saying about her being the Knight of the Laughing Tree and the armor being ill-fitting, I think the reason why the show, when they first showed us Lyanna, even before we saw her in the Tower of Joy, she's riding in on a horse and she circles, she circles Ned, and Ned's sword fighting with Brandon. Or no, is that Benjen? I think it's Benjen. But either way, our first image of her is what's going to stick. It's in our minds. It's first impressions. So the show's showing us her riding skills. So maybe next time when we see her in a flashback again, she's like 5 or 6 years older and her riding skills got even better. You know what I mean? I don't think we're going to get the entire Tourney at Harrenhal, but we're going to have to get, and it might be split up over multiple episodes. You know what I mean? Like we'll visit Bran during one warg, and then, you know, we get part of it, and then we come back and we get more, and then we get a little bit more, and then finally we fit it all together. You know what I mean?
No doubt. And going back to celebrity lookalikes, people always be saying I look like Lloyd Banks. I don't think so.
No, I agree with that. You do, man. You do. I agree with that.
It's like me. I'm like goddamn Lloyd Banks. Goddamn. People always be saying that. So I'll take it though. I'll take it. I mean, it's better than Chris Rock.
Yo, that's how Moji sounds. Moji sounds exactly like fucking Chris Rock, man. I don't know if he does it on purpose or if that's just how he sounds, but he sounds.
You can't keep that up all that time as much as that motherfucker.
Yeah, he sounds just like him. That shit trips me out when I'm watching y'all and listening. I'm thinking that I'm listening to Chris Rock for like a split second. Like that shit is crazy. I'm like Chris Rock explaining Game of Thrones. This is fucking awesome. But yeah, so do you agree with that? Do you think that that's why the show showed us, you know, the first time we see her, they know first impressions?
That's exactly why. And that's another reason why they should also have to show the Tourney at Harrenhal. Why is the first scene you're going to show of this chick galloping on a horse if you're not going to pay that off later, right? It doesn't pay it off just to show it right then and it means nothing else. Now, if you showed that right then, you never showed her again, what does that mean, her galloping on a horse? We've seen a lot of people walking on a horse. I mean, she's not like fucking Django. You know, Django. You know what I mean? They ain't looking at her like that. They ain't trying to say, what they got that horse for, right? They ain't saying that. So there must be a reason why they showed her on the goddamn horse. And the reason why they showed her on this horse is that later on, they're going to show her in Harrenhal. You're going to see the situation. They're going to show the tournament, the actual jousting. She's going to there probably won't be that many of them, but she'll probably beat like 2 of them or something like
that. I don't know. The second part of, you know, what the person who wanted to make, it's hard not to just say her name, but the second part that I want to kind of get your opinion on is she says that she also believes that the reason because of the Mad King's paranoia in finding out the true identity of the Knight of the Laughing Tree, which was Lyanna Stark, she believes that that's what Rhaegar prompted him to take her to, take her away so that he could keep her safe, from his father, since his father knew that she was the Knight of the Laughing Tree. Do you think that that's plausible?
I think he already knew. I think he had a plan in set. I think he already knew he needed to have a child with her.
Before they even got there?
Yeah, I think it was all set up. He had his plan to take over from his father and to bag this bitch up. I think that's what he had to do. I think he knew what he had to do. Rhaegar's a guy who studied a lot, and as I said, he believed in this whole Azor Ahai prophecy. He thought that he was Azor Ahai. He thought he who was going to do it. But then something switched in him, and he realized that it wasn't him, and he had to do something, which is hard to do. You know what I mean? A lot of times you see parents, you know what I mean, and they think they're the stars. They want to be the basketball star or something else, and then it don't pan out for them. You know what I mean? And they still live in. Then they get their son sometimes to live in their dreams and living, and their son's the one to do it. Sometimes they get mad at their son because their son is better than them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Situations like this where Rhaegar was willing to give the title up. He was like, it ain't me. I realize it's not me. It's going to be one of my kids. And the kids is going to be the one of ice and fire. I need one more kid, but my wife is too sick to give it to me. So I have to get it from this chick. And that's the reason why he went out and did that.
You know what I think could have also helped prompt him to do that is that, like you said, he had everything planned out. Rhaegar was not necessarily known for being the greatest warrior, but he read a lot of fucking books. He's similar to Tyrion in that aspect that he was smart, so he was probably planning every little detail of it. And in that, maybe when, what you said, what made him switch from thinking that he was going to be Azor Ahai and lead everyone through the long night, maybe it switched to him thinking that it was his son because he saw his own death. Like, he envisioned that. He knew he was going to die. He might not have known how, but he knew eventually he was going to die before the second coming of, the long night. So maybe that's what it was that made him realize that it was going to be his son.
Yeah, quite. Something he must have read, he realized it wasn't going to happen in his lifetime. But it had to come from him. He knew that Azor Ahai had to come from the bloodline, and he knew somehow that it had to be his lad. The other two that he had wasn't the one. He needed another son. You know what I mean? Because when you see the vision of Dany in the House of them dying, she's interpreting it the way she's interpreting it. But he's really talking about Jon Snow, that Jon Snow is the Song of Ice and Fire. He's the one that's got it. He needs another son. She has no idea about Jon Snow or anything like that. So she's automatically thinking that it's not him and stuff, But that's who he's talking about in that prophecy. He's talking about Jon Snow specifically, that Jon Snow is the Song of Ice and Fire.
Yeah, I think honestly, I think it would make the most sense if it's like you were saying, like it was just, maybe he even had visions that the reason why he couldn't conceive children with, I wanted to say Rhaenyra, but I know that's not it. Elia Martell, maybe the reason why he couldn't is because he was supposed to, he did have, obviously he had a kid, Fagon or whatever, but, and a daughter too, right? How many kids did they have together?
Yeah, 2 kids were, and then they got Fagon smashed up. They all got the mountain, smashed them up, smashed the head up against the wall, got them out there, and he needed the one other kid, and the other kid had to be Jon Snow. He knew that was going to be the Song of Ice and Fire. Now, you hear in the World of Ice and Fire book 2 that there was an agreement, between the Targaryens and the Starks back in the day to have a pack of Ice and Fire to get this done, but it never happened. You know what I mean? So maybe that's what he found. Maybe he found that scroll of the pack of Ice and Fire that was supposed to be done that never happened, and that's what led him to believe what he needed to do to have this child.
Yeah, maybe it was like there was a little bit of divine intervention, and the reason why him and Elia had so many miscarriages was because he ultimately needed to, procreate with Lyanna or someone of House Stark.
I don't even fuck with these Targaryens because you having their babies, women be dying. I don't know what it's the truth. I don't know what the fuck what they do to them, but I don't know if these Targaryens got some big ass heads when they come out or something. But they be stretching these chicks out to the point where they just be passing away. I have no idea. Maybe they just didn't do C-sections back then or something. But Jesus Christ, like you have a baby with Targaryen, your life is on the line.
Yeah, like Dany's mom. Elia kept having those miscarriages. Obviously, Lyanna. I think It would be interesting if, for some reason, they like address that in the show. Maybe because we do know that every time a Targaryen's born, you know, you flip a coin. One's either insane or relatively normal. And then we saw how Joffrey was insane because of a product of incest. I wonder if when Jon Snow finds out his heritage and everyone thinks that he's going to get together with Daenerys, I wonder if they hesitate on procreating because they realize that their offspring could be severely fucked up, kill Daenerys in the process of having the baby, or just turn out to be someone like Joffrey. You know what I mean?
Well, he's gonna hit it before he finds out.
I think like some Star Wars type shit, like Luke and Leia,
Skywalker, Princess Leia type of situation, kissing her, putting his hands behind his head like he's the man. Listen, it's going down. You know what I mean? There's no doubt about it. He's gonna hit it before he actually finds out. But he's definitely gonna run it because Dany has to get pregnant again. You know what I mean? It has to happen before the thing happens, whether she has a baby or not. It is, and the whole Targaryen madness situation. You don't really see a lot of mad Targaryens. I mean, you go back through the history. Could it just be that they're just assholes, these Targaryens, and a couple of them, and now they want to just give them a reason and say it's because of the incest, and this is what happened to them? You know what I mean? When you really look at the history and you go through all the Targaryen kings and you look at them, how many of them are actually mad? Like the Mad King wasn't mad. He got turned that way. You know what I mean? I don't think it's because of incest. I do believe that the Mad King got a flashback the same way Hodor got a flashback.
And it fucked with him?
Why he became this burn them all situation. That's what's going on there. He's not really truly mad. He got a flashback of the future, and that's what he's saying, burn them all, because that's what you need to do to kill these motherfuckers. You need to burn them all.
Yeah, maybe it was Bran trying to reach out from him in the future, and he wanted to show him what would happen, and was only able to show him, you know, his death. So he realized, like, he saw all the Lannister troops coming in, surrounding on him, and, you know, the last image he saw was being stabbed in the back by the Lannisters. But that would make sense because he let him in, so I don't know. It's
that motherfucking blood fucking dirty ass Raven. That's who did it, man. I'm telling you. That's the reason why he's telling Bran, don't go back and do it. Don't go back. You know what I mean? Because
the ink is already dry.
Because he already did it. He caused the fucking Summerhall tragedy, and he caused this shit with the Mad King. Blood fucking Raisin. Raisin. I said it again, god damn it. Blood Raven. He's the one who did that, motherfucker. No doubt. And you see, when he's in the dream, Bran, and he could hear Mira saying, "We need Hodor now." Blood Raven, he says, "Listen to your friend, Bran." How does he know that Bran is even able to do that unless he has done that before himself?
Yeah, and you can kind of see how he forcefully pulls him out because he realized it would have been too early for Bran to find out, hey man, you can actually influence the past a shit ton. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I think it is interesting how this was the last part that I wanted to address from her theory. She was saying that she thinks that Littlefinger actually knew like what happened between Rhaegar and Lyanna, like that he wooed her, but instead he put out the rumor of her being abducted, and that's when everybody started to think that way. Do you think that that's true?
Littlefinger, I think he's too young to do that at that particular time to put the abduction. I think that was put out by Robert
later
Baratheon's ego.
No, I meant to clarify. Like later on, you know how everyone like in present day Game of Thrones thinks that she was abducted, and she was saying that maybe Littlefinger was the one who influenced that rumor. You know what I mean? He might have actually known the truth, but he made it seem this other way.
It's Robert Baratheon. He's the one, because you know when you a guy as Robert Baratheon, an alpha male like that, kicking everyone's ass in the melee tournament. You know how dudes are. You don't think no one can love your woman better than you. Ain't no one can hit it like I do, girl. Ain't no one gonna run you the way I run you. And that's the way he's thinking about it. Now you got this guy who's just some long hair pretty boy. You think he gonna run it better than me? He can't take my. Look at this, man. You gonna leave me for that? Are you crazy? Kind of like Troy. You know what I mean? Situation like that. That movie Troy, when you seen that with Helen of Troy and stuff like that. That's the way Robert is doing it. His ego won't allow him to say that she liked another man better than him, so he has no choice but to say she got kidnapped.
Yeah, I agree with that. That was very well put. It would make sense for especially someone like Robert, man. You know, that just makes sense for him to be butthurt really easily and his ego to get bruised. And he's like, well, you know what actually happened? He took her. Let's go get her back. Honestly, I don't think her abduction is really what started it. I think it was when the Mad King burned Rickard and Brandon alive. You know what I mean?
That's what gave it all the substance to get it done. You know, that's what got the other lords involved. You know what I mean? That's the reason why I was able to go out like that. You know what I mean? Because there's no other. Lyanna, one girl, is not enough to go against the king. But when you start killing high lords at the drop of a hat and burning them alive, it makes everyone think this king is suspect. They already got the rumor that he's mad and out of control. They already had a tournament that people already knew they were going to try to get him out of there. Now you have the excuse to go in there and take him out. You know what I mean? And that's what they used it for.
And they saw him at the Tourney At Harrenhal. They saw how sickly he was. Everyone knew that he was mad paranoid. He hadn't left the Red Keep in years. You know, he probably hadn't addressed the public also, you know, so it just makes sense.
Yeah, that's exactly the way it had to go down. It can't go down anymore. I see Azor hype hashtag blood raising. I see y'all out there making fun of me. It's so good. I might get a T-shirt. House Teflon blood raven. It may go down. It may go down.
Speaking of which, I'm gonna that's a perfect segue. I'm gonna drop up the main background and we'll transition over to the sort of Q&A part. There was one more thing that I did want to talk about, but I'm gonna go ahead and give some shout outs to everybody who's in the chat right now. From who I can see that's actually active, because I like I said, I hadn't really been watching it. I had to get through this information. But shout out to Rob Plant, shout out to Betty New. I always say your last name wrong. Shout out to Betty New Eve. Shout out to Jonathan Haymaker. Shout out to Jacqueline, or should I say Tits. Shout out to Big E. Shout out to Lord of Last Hearth.
Wait, can we stop this for quick? What do you mean Tits? That's a nickname.
Nah, it's a long story. Like, in one of my live streams, she typed something, and I had read it differently. Or, like, I had read it, you know, incorrectly. And I was like, what? Has large tits? So, it's kind of like a little inside joke between me and...
Oh, all right. Oh, goddamn. Well, I'm inside that motherfucker now, too, goddamn.
Hell yeah. Shout out to Vinay Ram. Shout out to Pamela Barnes. Shout out to El Bia. Shout out to Jonathan Haymaker. Shout out to Remy Rujin Dijik. I know I fucking butchered that name, but shout out to the Bio Explorer. Shout out to Mia C, Pamela Barnes, Justin Kelly, and I think I'm starting to repeat ones now. Atomic Dom, what's up, bro, man? I was gonna have you in on this podcast, but it was like spur of the moment. You know what I mean? Shout out to Kyle, aka Azor Hype. Shout out to Ion Trone, the Twitter god. Shout out to, I think I got everyone. House Targaryen. Yep, and Lord Dom Snow. All right.
I think Big E is in the building too.
Yeah, I shot him out. He was one of the first ones.
All right.
All right. The last thing that I kind of wanted to address before we start taking questions was I just wanted to go over when the Tourney of Harrenhal was mentioned in the novels, and it was only really mentioned in 3. In the Game of Thrones, imprisoned in the Red Keep, in the Black Cells, Lord Eddard Stark vividly remembers the Tourney at Harrenhal, which took place 18 years prior. Which took place when he was 18. He remembers the sights, the smells, and all who attended. He recalls when Rhaegar Targaryen won the joust and the moment when all the smiles died, as Rhaegar rode past his own wife, Elie Martell, to bestow the Queen of Beauty's laurel, I don't know what that is, on Lyanna Stark. And then it was mentioned again in A Storm of Swords, when arriving at Harrenhal, sans sword hand, and as a captive of the brave companions, Jaime Lannister observes that many men have recently encamped outside the castle beside the lakeshore when Lord Walter Went had staged the greatest tourney. Like, basically, it reminded him of when Walter Went had the greatest tourney in the year of the false spring. A bitter smile touches Jaime's lips as they cross that torn ground. Someone has dug a privy trench in the very same spot where he had once knelt before King Aerys II to say his vows in order to become a member of the Kingsguard. And then encamped outside Yunkai, Arstan Whitebeard, a.k.a. Barristan Selmy, tells Daenerys about the tourney staged by Lord Went at Harrenhal beside the God's Eye. Mira Reed also mentions to Bran Stark the story of the Night of the Laughing Tree. And then finally, in A Dance with Dragons, in Meereen, alone and depressed on the terrace of the Great Pyramid, Sir Barristan Selmy remembers old Lord Went's tourney at Harrenhal and finds the memory of it still bitter. Do you think that was because he was in love with Ashara and something happened between Ashara and Brandon?
All right, so when it goes down to this is the situation when the next crazy rumor theories that people want to say Ashara Dane is Jon Snow's mother. It's because of this goddamn tournament. Now, I'm not even gonna go into in depth in it. I'm just gonna say the facts about it. The facts about it is that we know is that Ned is known as the Shy Wolf. Ned don't talk to chicks. Ned's brother had to go ask her to dance for him, and then after that, Ned got his dance. Now, what I think went down, and we know Brandon ain't shy for the pussy, right? Brandon Stark is the Pepe La goddamn Pew of Westeros, right? He takes the pussy. He's known for that, right? That's what we know about him. Pepe La Pew, right? That's how he gets down. So I've been in many clubs, I'm sure you have too. I've never seen a dude that don't talk pull the hottest chick in the place in my life, ever. Never. You hear the motto, when you talk about birds, a closed mouth don't get fed, right? It don't happen. So what I think happened is he went over to him and was like, yo, shorty, my brother want to get with you. Can he have a dance? And she's like, yeah, brother, what about you? And he's like, well, I'll talk to you later. And that's what happened. That is the way I think it went down. And that's why he says Stark dishonored her, because he was in love with her. He wanted to hit it because Brandon hit it out of wedlock.
Well, that makes sense. That does make a lot of sense. And we're about to start taking questions too. So if you want your questions answered, go ahead and tag it with Q&A, and then proceed to ask the question afterwards. I will say that let's see if I make sure I covered all of the mentions of it in the books. All right, yeah, it looks like we did. So the first question is from Shertavia Higgs, and she says, the Starks always say winter is coming. They know what comes with it. Is it a stretch to think that it didn't take much convincing by Rhaegar to get Lyanna to go along with the prophecy, since they know winter's coming?
I don't know if he even presented her with the prophecy or anything.
Yeah, that might have creeped her out.
I don't think he had to. He's fucking Rhaegar. All he had to do is sing a song, pull out his dick, and say, lay down. She's a 14-year-old girl. It's pretty easy to seduce her. You know what I mean? So I don't really think he had to go into the whole mysticism to get her or anything. I just think he had to say, I love you, baby, and you're going to be queen with me, and we get in the bed, and that's it.
Yeah, he didn't. Yeah, he probably wasn't much for small talk. He probably conversed with her a little bit, but yeah, I don't know if he would have mentioned that to her, because I personally think that it might have creeped her out, and I agree with what Tony says about him not having to even mention that, But it would be interesting if he did, because that would mean that she was in on it, and even more, justifying why she didn't get abducted. You know what I mean?
But yeah, she didn't. She would have known that the ratio of people dying when having Targaryen babies, I bet you she would have fucking rethought that motherfucker. I guarantee
it does make sense. Wait, don't you Targaryens have bad sperm or something? Why does everyone always die?
There's something going on with them, man. They got something in that motherfucker, some type of DDT in that shit or something.
You know what? Another thing too, if I'm not mistaken, if someone passes you can pass an STD along to your child. So if that was the case, and all the Targaryens had it passed down through the line, maybe that's what made them kind of not have the best luck when it comes to marriages, and maybe that's why the wife died, because there was a lot of I don't know too much about that kind of shit, but maybe it was something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They don't really have strong traits. Their traits always get overlapped by other families. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter who they have babies with, unless they have babies with each other. Their characteristics always get pushed to the back.
Yeah, look at Robbie B. He was black of hair, and all the Baratheons were black of hair. But close in his lineage, his mother was if I'm not mistaken, Rhaella Targaryen. She was from King Aegon V. So she had strong, and if he had sister wives, right? Wasn't Robert Baratheon's grandma, wasn't she conceived by someone who had was both Targaryen parents?
Yeah, when you look at the Boris Baratheon himself, he's got black of hair, and he's with Aegon. He's with Aegon the Conqueror, and he's a straight bastard. He got the same father.
Yeah.
He's black of hair, and that's as pure as it gets from back then. So that fact that right there, you see that they just didn't have their traits, don't hold up the Targaryen's trait. That's why when people how come Jon doesn't look like that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How come he doesn't look like a Targaryen? No one looks like a Targaryen.
Exactly.
Targaryen. No
Yeah.
one does. Why would he all of a sudden be the one that does?
Speaking of which, I saw Gray Area was here earlier. I forgot to give her a shout out. Shout out if you're still watching. Me and her were going back and forth in Kyle's fucking chicken or Azor Hype's chat about how Nettles was a Targaryen bastard, and she was saying that, well, she doesn't look like one, and her description was like brown hair, scraggly, and I was like, well, most Targaryens' features get lost. Like if you look at a lot of their offspring, like she was called Dragon Seed, so that's why she was able to ride.
Done deal. I'm with you on this. I don't even think it's debatable. She's Dragon Seed. That's what it is. Back then, and it says specifically that back then, it was an honor, a blessing. You would get bestowed gifts upon you if you were allowed to do this. You know what I mean? And that's what it was. That's what just like Brown Ben Plum. You know what I mean? Just like these dudes. He don't look like a Targaryen, but he's got dragon blood in him. You know what I mean? No one looks like a Targaryen unless you have two Targaryen parents.
Yeah,
or you look like something else.
Like Viserys and Daenerys, if they conceived a child, it would probably have, the silver hair. But anyone she mates with, they're gonna look like whoever that father is. Damn, I had a question that I wanted to ask you. It'll come back to me. The next question is from Justin Kelly, and he says, Q&A, do you think Bloodraven is really dead? Do you think Bloodraven is really dead?
Yeah, he's got to be dead. It doesn't serve it. I mean, I think that Bloodraven's plan.
He said it on purpose that time.
I think it is to take Bran and to get out of his body and leave Bran in his spot and go out there. I think that's some type of Atlas Stone type situation that he wants to switch spots. I think that's the way it's going to go down in the books. In the show, he's not needed anymore, so he got killed by the Night's King.
Yeah, there was some visuals. I was watching this anime one time, and the way one of the main characters died the same way Bloodraven did. You know how he dispersed into like black.
That was beautiful too.
Yeah. I saw that, and I was like, yo, Game of fucking Thrones stole that from this, because it was just like the same way they disappears. I watched so many animes, I don't even remember which one it was, but yeah. Honestly, I think that I'll say that that version of him is dead, but Bloodraven as like who they are, or the Three-Eyed Crow, whatever you want to call him, I don't think that he's dead because Bran has become him. You know what I mean? But I think the original version of him, the one on the show, has lived for 1,000 years, and in the novels, it's Brandon Rivers, who's Targaryen. But the way that the show has it, I think that iteration of Bloodraven is dead, yes. But Bloodraven as a whole is not dead because Bran is inhabiting that, or the embodiment of Bloodraven right now. God, spit out words. Fuck.
Yeah, you gotta look at him. This is a dude who's a dirty motherfucker, who's caused the spring sickness, who's done a lot of bad shit, and all the things he did to protect the realm from the Blackfires. As soon as he does that, when Egg comes into power, the first thing Egg does is send his ass to the wall. So this is a guy thinking like, listen, motherfucker, I protected this realm. I gave my life and my honor for the realm. And what you do to me, you send me to the wall. Not just me, but all of my soldiers to the wall too. So I think this man has a certain amount of bitterness that people don't want to talk about. But I think he's upset, and I think that's the reason why he caused the Summerhall. Because when you look at how Summerhall went down, all of a sudden Egg gets dreams of having dragons. Anytime you hear someone getting dreams of having dragons,
it's influenced by someone.
Doing something. Yeah. So he was the one influencing him to go there to have these dragons, and he is the reason why that whole situation happened.
I think, honestly, I kind of disagree a little bit. I think that the Maesters were why that fucked up. I think they wanted to finally rid the world of magic, and I think that they might have had some kind of influence on that. Like, maybe they put fucking wildfire caches underneath there because they knew it was the Targaryen summer home. But I don't know.
No, that's a good theory. That could happen too. It could have been the Maester situation there. It could have been. I'm going to lean more towards Bloodraven. You want to lean to the Maesters? That's cool. You know what I mean? But definitely when I think of wildfire and eggs, dragon eggs, I think of a nuclear bomb. I think this blows shit the fuck up. I think this is what happened in Harrenhal. You know what I mean? I think it went down there back then. I think that's how that shit got blown up before. And I do think that when that went down back there, I think that had something to do with the Maces back down there, and that was going down. So it's quite possible that you could be right on that. I'm still gonna lean towards dirty ass Blood Wraith.
Yeah, do you think that maybe like what happened at Summerhall was kind of like a miniature version of what could have caused the Doom of Valyria? You know, it was like a mix.
Yeah, well, I think that's what they're looking for. I think when the book that Jack and Rhaegar is looking for, the Maces are the Faceless Men are looking for, the Death of Dragons. I think it's telling that story, and I think that's when you look at the things he has. He went and acquired a dragon's egg. I think because these dragon eggs are nuclear bombs. I think that's what they plan on doing to all of Daenerys' dragons. The Faceless Men is killing all the dragons now. Whether they are hired by the Maesters or whatever, it's quite possible they could. Or whether they're just afraid because they knew what happened to them back in the day when the dragons were in power. They enslaved the whole population, so they don't want that to happen again. So they're going to rid the world of dragons. I think it's definitely a situation like that, but I think that's why he had to get that dragon egg. And if you look at the wildfire situation, when people ask the question all the time, why was Jack and Rhaegar in the black cells? Well, if you look at the lower cell underneath the black cell, the cell that's underneath that floor, it's completely black. And it's said that it's completely black because that is where they transfer all of the wildfire down there. So I think that that's what's going on there. I think that they he got himself put in the black cell so he can access the lower cells to that and get his hands on that wildfire. So I think he's got the two ingredients that he needs to get that, and now they just need the book to tell him exactly how to get it done.
Hell yeah. And I actually just got 2 super chats. Holy fucking shit. Those are like my third and fourth ones here. Yeah, the first one is from Elle Bell, and she says, did Rhaegar have his wife's permission to run off with Lyanna? She thinks he did. So basically, sort of like a cuckold situation there. Like, I know you need to make, you got this prophecy to worry about.
Yeah, I think he may have told her the deal, and she was like, shit, I'm not dying for this baby. Go ahead.
And maybe she was down with it because she knew he was obsessed with it. So they were married. Obviously, he talked about it a lot. You know what I mean? So maybe it was on some shit like, let's get someone younger who has a likelihood of surviving this because they're a lot younger than you. It'll be their first child. So maybe, or it could be like how you said, like basically, I don't want to die. Fuck it. Go ahead.
Man, listen, if you're talking about, I cannot believe it's not Butter Rhaegar. Fabio Rhaegar, right? That dude on that romance cover, if he was signing an autograph back in the day when he was in his prime and ladies came to get that autograph, if Fabio said at that fucking table that any woman who came to get an autograph, pull my dick out and suck it, they all would do it because it's Fabio. This is Rhaegar. It's the same situation, man. I've been like backstage with people and stuff and people that, rappers and all that. I seen shit go down. Shit that you wouldn't think women would do, but when they get in these situations, they lose their mind.
Yeah, it's easy to...
I was chilling with Father MC. I can't go into too many details, but I was chilling with Father MC in Madison Square Garden when he performed there. I was backstage. I seen chicks fight to get back there, and when they got back there, I seen chicks go through every bodyguard, and I'm talking on their knees, just to get back there to meet the dude. Blew every one of the bodyguards just to get back to meet the dude. So chicks will do things for celebrity type dick, you know what I mean? And that's what Rhaegar was back then.
Yeah, it was almost like he was an inhibitions lower without even needing any alcohol. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's easy to say that you won't do something when you're not around it, but then when you get confronted with it, that's a totally different story.
Now, I'm not saying I wouldn't do this. Listen, if a hot chick, if Kim Kardashian is there, a show like that is around, and Tony Teflon the Don is there, and she's like, Tony, hit your knees and do me. I'm gonna do, baby. You gotta do what you gotta do. I don't want to work no more. I might do it for Rosie O'Donnell. Listen, I don't,
No, hang on. Don't try to glaze over that, dude. You said Rosie O'Donnell. Did you mean to say Rosie Perez?
I said I don't want to work no more. Who the fuck does? Listen, Tom Arnold had it right. What? Tom Arnold.
Oh, you're okay.
Bagel shop.
See, I thought you were talking about Rosie. Not Rosie O'Donnell. The other one. You know which one I'm talking about?
Roseanne Barr.
Yeah. Okay.
That dude, Tom Arnold, went from working in a fucking bagel shop to being a producer of the Roseanne show to getting $25 million in a fucking divorce settlement. The man knew what he was doing and he did the job right. That's the bottom line, man. He did it. He took that big chick, he wrapped her legs around his head, and he did anything he had to do. Then all of a sudden, he became a star, got his own talk show and everything else.
And then they ended up getting divorced. Real quick, also, thank you, Azor Hype. I see you, bro. He also did a super chat, and he says, for Kind of Thrones beer on me. Appreciate it. All right, and then continuing with, let me see where I left off with the last one. The last one we answered was the one about, do we think Bloodraven is actually dead or not?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then the one after that was actually from Kyle, and he says, Q&A, what are we most excited about for Kind of Thrones? Like, what are you most excited about?
I've never been to Memphis and stuff, so I'm really just excited just to get
Nashville.
To
Nashville.
Yeah, Nashville. I've never been out there. I'm just excited to get out there really and see. And I'm telling you what I'm gonna do when I get out there. I want some barbecue. I'm trying to get out there to get some barbecue. I want some barbecue from down south. I haven't had none, so I'm really looking.
Oh man, you
some grub.
You need to come to my state for that shit, man. I don't know. I've never had Tennessee barbecue, but here in North Carolina, we have the best Eastern Carolina has the best barbecue, man.
My whole family's from North Carolina. They all live in Roaring Rapids. My cousin has a barber shop up in Charlotte. You know what I mean? My whole mom side of family is from there. My mom has 6 sisters and 5 brothers. And all of them live in North Carolina. So my aunt has a law firm out there too in Durham right there. So I be getting out there and stuff like that, but I don't get out there as much as I would like to. But I like to sample all this. But as for other things like the kind itself, I'm really looking forward to seeing the people and stuff like that, and just and getting on the panel and talking some Game of Thrones and meeting the other YouTubers live. It was really good. I went to the other con. I enjoyed meeting the other, meeting T Baby and meeting Don the Kraken and meeting Aziz. And when you meet these people, it's crazy because it's no weirdness for the fact that you've talked to them so much online that you feel like you just know them.
You know them, yeah. That's what I'm looking forward to, man. I'm looking forward to that too. Honestly, I will say that I'm looking personally forward to being able to meet, not necessarily meet, but finally get to like put a face to everyone. You know what I mean? Like all of us, I think I don't know if there's, are you doing a meetup? Are you doing like a fan meetup or anything?
A fan? No, I have no. I'm just going. I don't think I have enough fans.
Don't sit here and say you don't have fans, bro. You definitely have fans.
I don't know. I'm just gonna be there. If people come up to me and recognize. I would tell you what. I was at the last con I was there, and a lady came over to me, and she said something to me, and I couldn't believe she said it. She said it to me. I said, "Really?" And I said, "Don the Kraken Wood." I said, "Tell this dude what you just said to me." She said, "Oh, I just asked him if he was Don Willie." I said, no, not all of us look the same, lady. No,
yeah, you guys don't look anything alike, bro. Y'all don't look anything alike.
You know what I mean? So I was like, nah, I'm not Don Willie, you know what I mean? But people, it is what it is. I'm just looking forward to people come to me and say, hey, what up? I watch your channel and I like it. That would be very great. Anytime I hear that, you know what I mean? I do appreciate. She did realize who I was and knew my videos. She just had the name wrong and stuff like that. But
yeah. It would be funny if she came up behind you and was like, bend the knee. You was like, oh, shit, the fuck? And calm down. Every time I watch his videos, I don't think he puts it in the newer ones, but every time I watch his older ones, I always used to have to turn my audio all the way down because I was about to get ear raped by that. That shit was loud. He was like, bend the knee. I was like, damn. Let you know.
Knee. That's it.
You know who you're watching.
My knee to chicks, and it depends how good looking they are.
We actually just got another super chat. This is from this is Q&A, and this is from I think that's how you say that. Do you think it's possible that Lyanna had the visions and put prophecy in Rhaegar's head since she's got warg blood and potential of green dream? Okay, so you're saying like because of her Stark lineage, she has the potential to be a warg, and she could have somehow. I think maybe a skin changer. A more advanced version of a warg, someone who can change in the shape of any animal, because a warg is actually described as someone who can take the shape of a dog or a wolf, or enter the mind of that rather, and a skin changer can do pretty much any animal. Honestly, I don't really know about that. I don't know if she has enough of just enough knowledge about it. We know that all the Stark children, like all of Ned's children are wargs, and we know that Sansa never develops wolf dreams because she loses her connection with Lady so early on. But I don't know if I don't know if Ned himself was, had wolf dreams, and I'm not sure. What do you think about that, Tony?
No, it's not. That's not the case. It's a good question, but it's not the case whatsoever. This is all Rhaegar because we have the story of Rhaegar reading the scrolls, and we have the vision of Daenerys and Rhaegar saying, "I need another kid for the Song of Ice and Fire." So there'd be no reason to have those two things in it if it was Lyanna's intent to seduce him.
Yeah, I think that the person who is definitely doing all of the plotting about getting her is, like we were saying earlier, Rhaegar planned out every single event of the tourney. That is a cool little theory though. That might be worth doing like a tinfoil video on, like maybe going.
You got your man Richard Mooten. He says here, I would bend the knee to Val.
I saw that. I was trying not to say something about that. I didn't want to know. Yeah. That is funny though. That's funny.
I'm a black man, and from what I'm seeing, her ass is too small for me. So you hold that down all day, big man. You know what I mean? She a cute little girl, but she still look like a little girl to me. I'm a grown ass man. You know what I'm saying? So I need a bigger woman. I need some more meat than that. You know what I'm saying? I need somebody to keep me warm. I need something more than that. Me personally, but she's a cute little girl and stuff. But you hold that down, my man, Richard.
Yeah, I was about to say I'm not even gonna comment on that. I will say hello to Bio Explorer. She says hello from South Carolina. Let me go back. I know there was a few questions that got skipped. Once again, we will be wrapping this up in maybe 15 or 20 minutes. So if you want to get your questions in, go ahead and type in Q&A, because you see we do very thorough answers. So it will take us a while to answer them. So if you want to get your shit answered, or excuse my language, if you want to get your stuff answered, go ahead and send it in and then, tag it with Q&A.
What up to that, South Carolina? I did a show in there in a club called Characters back in the day. Very good time out there hanging in South Carolina.
What part?
It was Greensboro. What's it called? Greensboro or something like that.
Greenville.
Something. I know the club was called Characters. It was a crazy club because that was the first time I had been down south, especially to perform. And I went out there, and the club, the people that were doing the DJs, they would duck their heads down when they were DJing, and they would hold up puppets and make the puppets dance. And I was just like, I'd never seen anything like that before in my life. It was very weird, so that's why I remember that specifically.
It stuck because it was so vivid. All right, so this one's actually kind of directed towards you because you did a video on this recently. It's from Jonathan Haymaker, and if I missed your Q&A before that, go ahead and type it back in down at the bottom, and I'll catch back up to it. But the one that I'm looking at now that was close to where we were before was from Jonathan Haymaker, and he says, Q&A, if Arya is really the waif, how will that play out next season? I'm going to let you answer that one.
If she is the waif. Now, the video I made on it, I never said that I agree with the theory. I was really contradicting the people who didn't agree with my theory, saying that Arya could take Sansa's face, because they said that Sansa would have to be dead. So that video I did was really showing that she doesn't have to be dead, because you could see Arya, there's other faces around with people who aren't dead. So I personally don't believe that Arya is the waif. Now, people have put in my comment section that they think that Arya could be the waif. I doubt it. I just don't see how it makes and how it helps the storyline, especially if they're bringing Jack and Rhaegar back this season. Is he coming back to kill the waif? I don't know. I think if he's coming back to do the Citadel stuff with Sam and the Dragon Egg stuff with Sam, and probably get killed and murdered by Sam when it's all said and done.
I mean, I guess I could say something. I don't know if, I definitely think it's Arya. She wouldn't have killed Walder Frey. I know that they do experience memories, like you had mentioned in the video, but I just think that that's too complicated. You know what I mean? Way too complicated to explain, because then what is she going to continue to do? Actually, I do like the idea where people were saying that she was sent to kill Jon, because Jon, the many-faced god of death, was owed a death, and he never got it when Jon Snow came back. So if that was the case, maybe she's going to go kill Beric fucking Dondarrion too, and maybe even the Hound. You know what I mean? Because he was supposed to die.
Don't you have to believe in that shit for that to be true? I mean, if you're not that religion, what does it have to do with you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Jon didn't ask to come back. That would have to be more on Melisandre, because she believed in that religion. So it would be on her. Maybe she has to die.
Well, see, here's the thing with that. I don't know if Melisandre actually fucking brought him back. I understand that she's a Red Priestess. Red Priestess can resurrect people, but I honestly think if she did bring him back, the sacrifice that took place, I know there doesn't necessarily have to be one, but it was because of Shireen. She lost, she burned Shireen and they got nothing out of it. Stannis and everyone ended up dying, but it was to bring back, Jon Snow. I think what may have happened is that there was a weird shape the way his blood was when they lifted him up to take his body like upstairs or whatever, and where they set up shop at, that never been much of a fight scene with Davos, where Jon Snow's at. You can look at the ground for a split second and it kind of looks like the 3 heads of the dragon. So I think that I support this theory maybe like 10%. I like it. I'm a fan of it. It's like you said earlier, it's more entertaining than anything else. But basically that since Jon Snow was one of the 3 heads of the dragons and they've been prophesied for such a long time, him losing all that blood outside is what brought him back. So almost like he brought himself back and Melisandre just kind of guided it along the way. You know what I mean?
Well, I think that when it goes down in the books, me personally, I think that she's going to probably kill Ghost to get it done. To second, when he comes back, Ghost will be dead. I think that's the way it's going to go.
Shit,
down.
I hope that doesn't happen.
I think because when you look at, I think like if you look at Mirror Master when she tries to bring back Khal Drogo, if you look at the words that she's saying like strength of the beast go into the man, strength of the man go into the beast, and then she cuts the throat of the horse. I think that's what's going to be said. I think that's what it is, but I think I didn't work for Khal Drogo because Khal Drogo is not a warg. So I think that's it, because I don't think Jon's going to know how to get out of Ghost. I think he's going to be stuck in there, and I think he's going to know. I think the only way it's going to happen, he's going to have to be forced out, and I think Ghost is going to have to die to get him out of there.
Yeah, I will say this, that since he died such a long fucking time ago, that if we don't get any, obviously the books are going to pick back up with, where the last one left off, but honestly, he would be trapped in there forever. There's no getting him out. As long as he's been in there, it's been years now,
Yeah, yeah.
And we actually just got another, this is crazy. This is the most super chats I've ever gotten in a single live stream, as well as like just in general. But this is from Swizzle Sticks, and I think I said your name right. And he just says, I was going to Con of Thrones and took the time off for vacation, but plans changed, so I hope this helps your trips. Appreciate it, man. That's what's up. Thank you, sir.
Good luck for that. Good luck. Go good looks. He put that to good use. Don't worry.
And then let's see, I did miss a few, but this one we'll just pick up from the bottom so it's easier. This one's from Michael Coleman, and he says, Q&A, do you think Tywin had anything to do with Joffrey's death, being that he never said anything about Jaime losing his hand? He wanted to get rid of Tyrion and get Jaime to take over Casterly Rock?
Nope. I don't think that Tywin had anything to do with Joffrey's death.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think that he was upset by it, you know what I mean? But I don't think that he was like pulling some various type behind the scenes shit,
Nah, because Joffrey was afraid of him. You seen Tywin bitch down Joffrey many a times.
He goes, perhaps the king is tired. And he's like, I'm not tired. Like, yeah, you are, bitch. Take your ass to sleep. All right, let's see. And then the next one is from Tyrion Jr. Landstark. I like that name. It says, Q&A, do you think the Night King still wants Gilly's baby? Honestly, I think that could be why that motherfucker's coming south of the wall, because he did not have his other Night King or his other general, White Walker. And I think it's like what I was saying before. It's like, I think that the Night King is a warg, or a skin changer rather. And the way that he controls all of them is by passing off his powers, passing off his influence onto each one of them. And in order to control his army that's growing larger and larger, he needs more help. So those White Walker generals share his hive mind. They can think and act independently, but ultimately they're under his control. So he needs another White Walker to help him control his army, because it's getting even bigger. So I think that could be, one of the things. I will say yes, I think he's still after Gilly's baby. And I think the reason that baby hadn't fucking aged, and maybe they'll address it next season when Sam's at the Citadel, basically like a hospital of Westeros, that he'll figure that out. Okay, this baby is not aging for some reason. There was a contract between him and, God, I forgot his name, Craster. And since that contract was never fulfilled, this baby is never going to age until he becomes, a White Walker general. What do you think about that?
I think that, so when you're dealing with the book situation, I think that the Night's King is Gilly's baby. So I think that's the way it's
like
gonna
one
go.
of the ones, one of Craster's daughters, like that had given, like one of Craster's sons.
Yeah, Gilly's baby is the Night's King in the books. I think that's how it's going down. You understand that she has Mace's baby with her in the books. Mm-hmm. She takes Mace's baby and calls him, wants to name him Aemon Battleborn. and it's Gilly's baby that's still at the wall, and they left that baby at the wall because they said Melisandre wouldn't burn that baby. But I think that's what they're gonna come when the wall falls, and that baby will be turned into what is eventually that we see in the show as the Night's King. I think it's gonna go down like that.
Hell yeah. I think, I mean, I know that the reason why Jon sends them away is because there's King's blood. Like, Melisandre keeps talking about King's blood, and he doesn't want to risk everyone, anyone who potentially has it. And Mance is technically king beyond the wall, so his son would have that King's blood. I don't, I'm not really too keen on anything. I'm afraid to say, like, my book theories because I'm not as well versed as you and a lot of other strong leading book enthusiasts that know a lot. So I'm afraid to really share my theory on that, but I will say that I agree with what you just said.
There you go. That's the best way to do it.
Hell yeah. Let's see. Do we have any more? Oh, we just got another fucking super chat, and this is from the Bio Explorer, and she says, I can't make it to Con of Thrones. She's teaching, so Sir Hunts and Teflon bring us all the news. No doubt. I'm going to be vlogging, and I'm going to be recording my panels, and I think I talked with Sue the Fury. She's the editor-in-chief, and she said that they're going to be recording some of the panels, but not all of them. Actually, no, this was the programming coordinator. She said that they are officially filming certain panels, but not all of them. Hopefully, I don't know about you, Tony, but I'm going to be recording all mine anyway. Like, I have a little, like, setup. Like, I'm going to put basically my camera in front of the whole panel and then record the audio separately, I don't know.
Oh, no, I ain't got shit. I'm just going there and doing what I do, you know what I mean? So I'm just going. I ain't bringing my laptop. Maybe I bring my laptop made from the hotel room.
You should because we'll probably be getting clips while we're there. Like, the show will come out in 2 weeks, so we're definitely gonna be getting new clips. And you got to put those videos out, man.
Yeah, maybe something will jump off like that. I'm going to, I'm trying to intermingle with people, you know what I mean? And that's what I'm really there for. More people want to record. I record all the time, so I'm really there just to network with a couple of people up in there and get something popping, you know what I mean? Since I do make children's books and stuff like that, and I do children's books with celebrity, that's my gimmick. So a couple of celebs are going to be there, so I'm there really to try to broker a deal to get a children's book with one of them. I'm pretty sure I'm going to pull it off. I usually do, so that's what I'm really going there for. In all honesty, I'm going to try to get that done, so I'm trying to just really do a lot of networking more than recording. But if people want to record me, they can.
I feel you. I was about to say, if I when I'm not doing a panel, if like you're, I'm definitely gonna have the one on because we're both on that one, so I can slide you a recording of that too, the one that we're doing on race. But if there's a time when you have a panel and I'm not at a panel, I can try to come, film for you.
That's what it is. Good looks on that. And I got you. If you need me to hold you down, I can hold you down. You know what I mean?
Word. This is from. Okay, wait. No, I'm actually commenting on what Deloco, I think, said. He said he or she said burning Shireen cleared up the snowstorm almost instantly. It worked. But do you really think King's blood sacrifices for some fucking weather manipulation? I think King's blood sacrifices for paying for life. Someone else is being brought back or power. Like the person who tossed Varys. Well, okay, I'm not about to sit here and say that Varys has King's blood. Never mind. I retract that statement. But I honestly don't think that that's what that was for. I think that was to bring back Jon Snow.
Varys got King's blood. He's a Blackfire. There's no other reason why his dick was.
Well, it could. I mean, no, there is. It could have just been because that made him who he is. You know what I mean? And that's nice backstory for him, like basically explaining why he.
Why pick him out of everybody else? I mean, the guy specifically paid. The guy paid. They say he paid like a king's ransom for Varys.
That's true.
Why would he pay a king's ransom for Varys? Why would he do that for him specifically?
That's true. Also, I like the theory that he could just be lying. I think you had mentioned this in your live streaming the other day, that he could just be lying about the whole thing because he's a mummer. You know what I mean? And he does actually have a dick, and he's just lying the whole time because he's a Blackfire trying to restore Blackfires to power. I think that's definitely more of a book than show, for sure.
Yeah.
And this is actually from the Bio Explorer. She says, Q&A, do you think Ned was whispering to Bran just before he died? Like, basically,
I don't know. I think he was just saying a prayer, but the Bio Explorer, yes, it was Greensville, South Carolina. That was where that club characters was. But I mean, anything is possible, but I'm just going to say he was just praying. We've seen him pray before. I think he was just praying to the side. I mean, I've heard people say that he walked into the birds when they flew away. That's not true. But is it possible? Yeah, it's possible, but I'm going to go where he was just praying.
Yeah. I agree with that. I saw someone had made a comment. I don't know what they were talking about. I think they were just making a random statement, but they had said I think it costs about tree fitted. And then Jonathan Hammaker goes, I ain't giving you no tree fitted, Mr. Loch Ness Monster. You watch South Park, man?
No, I watch. I watch it, but not on a regular. So I know it, but I don't watch it on a regular.
Yeah, that's what that was. It was a South Park reference. In one episode, there's this older couple that is walking around and like they're talking. I can't even remember the complete context, but they basically he keeps telling different versions of when the Loch Ness Monster came knocking on his door trying to get $3.50 from him for some shit. And one of the funniest ones is when he's like, and I opened the door and I thought it was Jehovah's Witness. You know who it was? The goddamn Loch Ness Monster, and he wanted his tree fitted. That shit is hilarious. It's mad funny. I think you have to watch it really to, you know.
Oh, I understand. Yeah, no, I love South Park. Those guys, especially the guys who write it, those guys are very creative. I mean, they made Team fucking America.
Hell yeah.
Fuck
yeah. America. Fuck yeah. Speaking of which, I'm gonna steal a line from you, sir. And there are 71 people watching right now, which is insane as of itself. But according to my look, it looks like there's 25 likes on the video. So please slap a like on this video and share it on social media. Hopefully, it really helps out my channel and it's free.
Listen, help a brother out. You got 70-something people watching, 20 likes. That's kind of crazy, people. Let's get this up a little bit here. You know what I mean? And help this man get some love. The more likes you get, the higher YouTube ranks the videos. That's the bottom line. So we can't do this without your help. We can't become bigger. We can't get. If you really want to see us get to that bigger stratosphere or get that, help Sir Hunts, help Tony Teflon to Dine, get that YouTube button that everyone wants. The only way to do that is to try to help us get this out there more, because if you don't like it, then only other people's that are already established videos will get put out there. So help brothers out.
Hell yeah. And also, real quick, since we're kind of towards the end of it, everybody list. I'll let you do that. You do it the best. Go ahead. With the list where they're from.
Oh, so as always, usually on Teflon TV, but now we are on Sir Hunt's Reviews. We gonna take it to the streets, and I would like you to rep your hood. And what that means, if you're not a Tony Teflon fan or been on my channels, in the chat, I would love for you to put where you are from and the city you are from and the state, and we will read it out loud so everyone can know that Sir Hunt's Review is worldwide, baby. And we get down.
You just made me feel like I was watching the pregame show and I got excited because there was going to be a Game of Thrones episode in like an hour. Fuck. I can't wait till you start those, bro. Honestly, I really do look forward to those shits. I did one with you last year. Honestly, because of where I love watching. I don't want to miss nothing. You know what I mean? And I feel like you enjoy it more.
You're going to be on the first episode. If you want to be on the first episode,
hell yeah.
We got you on the first episode.
That's what's up, dude. There's probably going to be like 600 people watching you, too, because it'll be the first. What? I'm excited.
We did good last year. I think we were doing, after...
You were averaging 350 to 400. But some Sundays, I think the one on the season finale, the one you did, you had, almost 600 or 700 people watching you, bro. That shit was insane.
That's big numbers for people. And, at that time, for some small numbers that I have on my channel for subscribers, that's big shit. You know what I mean? That's smoke screen roarish numbers on a regular, but those are people who have 100,000 subscribers. And when I don't have 1/4 of that to get that many views live viewers is amazing. So we running this pregame show. If people don't know, yes, every game before Game of Thrones starts from 6 o'clock to 8:30, we run the pregame show. I have a different YouTuber on with me for a half an hour, and I do a half an hour with them, and the next one comes on, a half an hour with them, and the next one comes on. We have different YouTubers on every week, and we do it every week. So check me out and check us out in the pregame show.
Hell yeah, and there's actually a link straight to Tony's channel. It's the first link in the description. You click that and you go subscribe to him if you haven't already done so. And I'm going to go ahead and list some of these places where everybody's from. First off, we have Spokane, Washington, Sorrow, Vermont, Nashville, Tennessee. I hope you're going to be at the Con of Thrones if you're in Nashville. And Florence, South Carolina, Alberta, Canada, El Monte, California, North Plainfield, New Jersey, Armadale, New South Wales. Oh, speaking of which, shout out to King McKay. And he's, if I'm not mistaken, he's in New Zealand. Armadale's New South Wales, Australia. All right, let's see. You guys can keep listing where you're from, and I'll read that out. Also, Tony, real quick, do you want to give us your final thoughts on the Tourney at Harrenhal? I
think that when you look at the Tourney at Harrenhal, it's basically two things that we're looking at the Tourney at Harrenhal. We're looking at Howland Reed, like, to me, what was Howland Reed doing at the Isle of Faces for a month? What was he? Why was he there, and why did he have to be there a month? To me, I think he was learning the spell, the Hammers of Water. That's why he went there. Next thing we look at the Tourney At Harrenhal, we see what was the Tourney At Harrenhal's purpose. It was because Rhaegar Targaryen wanted to bag up Lyanna Stark, and he also wanted to take over the kingdom from his father. And then we get the last thing from the Tourney At Harrenhal, and that is Ned Stark being shy and Ashara Dane sleeping with Brandon Stark. Those are the main important things that came out of the Tourney At Harrenhal for me. I like that. I love it. I think it's good, and I do think that we'll see part of it this season, so no doubt about it. But yeah, thank you for having me on all that. I do appreciate that, homie.
No doubt, man. I know we were supposed to sing karaoke, but you know, I figure we can save that for a special one. That's
well,
like,
yeah, I think people want to see what we look like when we
yeah.
do
that. Let's see. We got a few more places too. Let's see. We have Northumberland, England. Is that by any chance like the Kingdom of Umbria? Because I watched this show, you know, and it's called The Last Kingdom, and you know he's from Umbria, or no, he's from Wessex. Wait, no, fuck, I don't know, but yeah, is that what that is? Is Northumberland like? Is that used to be the Kingdom of Umbria? I don't know. That'd be cool. We also have Atlanta, Georgia, Stuttgart, Germany, Rialto, California, Iron Mountain, Michigan. Is that a real place? That sounds insane. I have family in Detroit, but I've never heard of that. Where are you from? I'm from Iron fucking Mountain, son. Yeah. Sacramento, California, and I think that's it so far.
Got me at the end would be no sense to it, but yeah, that is to Ali. I put that out there. Shout out to Ali. Shout out to Julia. Shout out to Ben. Shout out to Tyrion Jr. What is that? Landstark. Shout out to everyone coming out here and supporting Sir Hunt's reviews on this live stream on this Sunday. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there.
Speaking of which, I missed that.
Happy Father's Day to the mothers out there that act like fathers.
Hell yeah. The mom's doing both parental roles because that's what's up. And I forgot to mention that. My dad doesn't watch these videos, and he's in Florida, probably smoking a blunt on the beach. But happy Father's Day, Father. I would have sent you a card, but I ain't got no money. You know what I mean?
New Zealand. I got people out in New Zealand. I got a bunch of people out there in New Zealand. I got a bunch of heads out there.
By the way, what's up, Ben? You are late, bro. You're supposed to be here, man. I was gonna make you moderator, but you know you can't be showing up late. Greenville, South Carolina, Bronx. Isn't that where you're from? Are you from Brooklyn?
I'm from Queens, New York, baby.
Queens. Last time I was in New York, this is really the only time I've been there. I actually went on a trip with my girlfriend and her mom, and we stayed in Spanish Harlem, or Old Harlem, I think is what they called it. We were like a block away from the movie theater, or the Apollo Theater, you know, where they did Showtime at the Apollo.
Yeah, that's uptown, baby. That's Harlem.
Yeah, it was nice, man. It was crazy because honestly, I thought, you know, being in Harlem, and you hear about Harlem, you hear like, you know, you get stereotypical, but this is the new Harlem, and there was actually a lot of white people there. I was surprised by that because I know, you know, back home in Philly, unless you're in a certain part of Philadelphia, and it can't even sound racist because I'm half white and I really don't give a shit, you know what I mean? But it was just crazy to see that many diverse, like ethnically diverse people in where we were staying at in that neighborhood. You know what I mean?
They brought up all the property, kicked the black people off the property. As
Gentrification.
When Bill Clinton went out there and made his office after his presidency out there, that's when they started doing that, pushing people out. The city is known for pushing people out and moving people away and stuff. They raised the rent to the point where you can't afford it, and that's how they get you out of there. And that's what happened there. That's why it is what it is now.
Hell yeah. All right, so we got 50 likes. This is going to be wrapping this up because Rawrest and Because Geek are about to do a live stream together, which I'm about to go watch my goddamn self. So hopefully I will catch all of y'all in the chat over there. Make sure you click that first link in the description and go subscribe to Tony the Teflon's channel, and make sure you comment on one of his videos and say House Hunt sent you if we don't share you as a subscriber already. I want to thank everyone for fucking watching this because this has been one of my most popular live streams in a while, and I think that has a lot to do with Tony, so I want to go ahead and thank you for joining me, man.
No, thank you for having me. Thank everybody out there in the chat. The chick out there from Greenville, South Carolina. I don't know if you ever heard of that club characters, but yeah, I did that back in the day, you know what I mean? Shout out to all my people, you know what I mean? I love all y'all out there. I will see y'all at the con, whoever's going to be at the con. Don't be afraid to approach the Don. I'm very approachable. Just say what up. Don't run up behind me, though. Just don't come from the behind. I got that prison shit in me. I get nervous.
I was trying to picture out what you were saying, and then you're saying like when someone sees you, don't sneak up behind you. I might actually do that, bro. Just
don't sneak up because you know my elbow swings back. It swings. It's like when you tap somebody's picks out the doctor. My elbow swings back because I'm prison.
It's just a reaction. It's just a reaction.
I watch too much Oz and shit. I get nervous when people come around me from behind. So don't sneak up behind me. Just come up to me and let me see you. But thank you for having me here. I really did appreciate it. I had a great time.
No doubt, man. You know, I've actually never watched Oz. I've seen clips of it, and I watched The Wire, but I never actually watched Oz.
Oz is great, man.
Is it really?
Chuck Zito's in there. That's a really good show. My man Chuck Zito's in there. Oz is what really set it off for HBO to have all these shows off.
Yeah,
that was like one of their first big hits. You know what I mean?
I have heard that, and then I think the reason why I probably strayed away from it is because when it was out, I was watching Mad TV. You know, Mad TV, the sketch comedy show. They do a lot of like skits from that, and it would always be Aries Spears, and he just gets mad angry, and he's like, "Motherfucker!" and he's like doing the one certain character. So as a kid, you know, I thought that skit was funny, but I was like, I'll probably never get to watch that. It's probably, you know, inappropriate or whatever. But now as an adult, I haven't gone back to it yet.
My favorite skit on Mad TV was Artie Lang when he did My Black Mama. And he said, "Don't make me break my foot off in your ass."
That was also a classic. Or, you know, Stewart. I can't think of his name. I think it's Norm Macdonald. He does the Stewart where he's like an adult kid and he's like, "Look what I can do. Look what I can do." And he's always like fighting with his mom and shit, telling his mom that, you know, that was one of my favorite ones. All right, well, yeah, like I said, I want to thank you all so much for watching. My name's Mark, and I've had my special guest, Tony Teflon, and we want to thank you all so much for watching. If you would like to enter my contest for the 10,000 subscriber giveaway for once I reach that goal here on YouTube, all you have to do to enter that contest is 1, like this video, 2, comment down below, and then 3, hop on Twitter and on Instagram and follow me. Also, hop on Twitter. I'm not sure if Tony has a Instagram, but I know he has a Twitter. Make sure you go follow him on Twitter as well and subscribe to his channel here on YouTube. My name's Mark, and I want to thank you all so much again. Tony, you want to do your...
Oh, if you like the way we do this, please thumbs up this, please spread this across the realm, and please subscribe. And until next time, you know who it is. Peace, and stay sexy.
I was waiting for that. Stay sexy. But yeah, my name's Mark, and this has been Sir Hunt's Reviews.